welcome to the World Tourism Day's virtual panel discussion. Let's talk inclusive growth in tourism, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism through its agency, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, or TEF. Now, in case you're wondering, what is World Tourism Day? Don't worry, we're here to explain it to you. It is celebrated each year on the 27th of September, and it is a global observance day fostering awareness of tourism's social, cultural, political, and economic value, and the contribution that the sector can make towards reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. And I always encourage you, regardless of who you are and where you are, to go and look up what these Sustainable Development Goals are and how we can align with them. So today we will talk about inclusive growth in tourism with representatives from the sport and entertainment, gastronomy, manufacturing, and agriculture and creative industries. I can't wait to talk to our panelists. And speaking of panelists, a big welcome to them today. I say hi and welcome to Chef Brian Lumley, who really doesn't need any introduction. He's the executive chef, District 5 at the R Hotel. Hi, Chef Lumley.
Hi, Terry. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me, everybody.
Thanks for being here. And in true chef style, he's in the kitchen actually preparing some green juice for all of us panelists, who he will ensure the juice gets to us virtually. I say hello to Big Bad Delano Thomas, DJ Delano, Renaissance Disco. Good to have you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good day, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Welcome to the panel. And we go all the way. We move from Kingston with Chef Lumley and Delano Thomas, and we move all the way to Manchester with Cassandra Hines, our farmer who is in the building. Hi, Cassandra.
Hi, good day. Good day, everyone.
Good to have you. She's under her tree, not too far from her farm. Thank you so very much for facilitating us. And last but not least, Walter Schertes, pure chocolate. I love that chocolate. We'll get into it. Walter, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Fantastic, exciting and diverse panel. So my name is Dr. Terry Carell Reed. It is always a pleasure to serve you in the capacity of host and to share your company. A big welcome to all of our viewers, whether you are local, regional, or you are international. So let's talk about inclusive growth. Inclusive growth is economic growth that is distributed across society, and it should create opportunities for all. World Tourism Day 2021 provides a unique opportunity to celebrate tourism's unique ability to ensure that no one is left behind, while looking beyond the statistics and amplifying the conversation about the involvement of our local people and ways to expand the tourism supply chains with respect to socially and environmentally sustainable practices. Those will always be important. It also provides an opportunity to create and further strengthen the linkages that can be created between the local people and the tourism sector and the potential costs and benefits. So unlocking this potential of the tourism and the ecosystem and the value chain and the investments facilitation in tourism can deliver more inclusive and sustainable growth in new areas, including for traditionally marginalized communities. Alongside this, expanding access to tourism education and delivering sector-specific training will give everyone the chance to benefit from tourism's future growth. Now, if you're asking, all right, yeah, tourism is a big deal, but how many Jamaicans are really affected by it? Over 350,000 Jamaicans earn a living from tourism directly and indirectly, such as our farmers, manufacturers, tour operators, hotel workers, DJs, chefs, bartenders, wedding planners, persons working in the spas, technology, aviation, transportation, and maintenance, and that is just to name a few. So I think this is a great conversation. It is an important conversation, and we're going to jump into it right now. So share this live, tell your friends, they're not gonna want to miss out. So since I've set the tone, we've kind of explained what this particular day is all about, World Tourism Day, the importance of inclusive growth and the importance of tourism with linking local persons. Let's get down to our panelists. So Chef Brian Lumley, I will start off with you. For persons who may not be familiar with who Chef Brian Lumley is or what he does, tell me about your business or your skill set.
All right, thank you, Kara. So my name is Chef Brian Lumley. I'm an executive chef here at the R Hotel, and our flagship restaurant, District 5, is located on the fifth floor of said hotel. My skill set, my expertise falls in what I call contemporary Caribbean cuisine. And it's a mixture of traditional Caribbean flavors, kind of fused along the lines of Asian cuisine, French cuisine, and Italian cuisine, because those are the cuisines that had a huge impact on my early development as a chef. So for me, it's molding those different flavors into something new while still familiar for both local and international guests, right? That's the simplest version.
It's the simplest version. No, and I appreciate that. And the reason why I was going to ask you, because a part of tourism and a huge appeal that the international audience has for us is the fact that our gastronomy industry is so huge. They come here for the sea, the sun, the fun, but the food plays a big role. So I was just going to ask you, how do you balance that very fine line between giving people something that is authentically Jamaican while still appealing to the international audience? Like, how much time does it take for you to really come up with dishes that do both?
All right, so that's a fantastic question. And to provide a bit of context, we have to look at the history of the tourism product in Jamaica and the food in which that role plays. And we can talk about this for hours. We don't have that time today. But to shorten it a bit, a lot of the times for decades, you would have a lot of international chefs that have been to Jamaica and are executive chefs, right? And that was necessary because a lot of the guests are coming from Europe, Canada, United States, so they need something familiar. And then you saw the all-inclusive concept that was born out of it, because for a long time we were a mostly EP-based resort destination. And EP mean European plan. That means when they pay for their stay, their food, they buy that differently, right? It's not all-inclusive. Then that kind of morphed into the all-inclusive concept that, you pay one money and you get everything, your airfare, your travel, your food, and that was born out of convenience. That is a very good concept still, but it had a few setbacks, and one of those setbacks were the immersion into the culture of whatever destination that you go. And companies like Sandals have recognized this impact and done a lot to turn it around. So they've now have tours. As I say, island tours come about that while you have the inclusive, all-inclusive concept, you can still have an opportunity to go immerse yourself into the culture and go around in a safe environment, right? So how does the food play into that part of the equation? This is where you have the Blue Mountain Coffee tours. I'm sure you have some chocolate tours along the way that matches with that. The breakfast, the one-stop shop on the road to one of these tours. And you get a more authentic experience by stopping by the jerk pan man on the side of the road, or the soup lady on the way to the hills, the porridge man down in Montego Bay, the pudding man in St. Anne. So these are authentic flavors, like they're almost frozen in time, which are very important because locals love it. And you want the tourists nowadays, with social media being big and exposes everything, you realize that now they get starting to ask questions. Like, I've been to this hotel and I've not had a hella top.
They're more savvy.
Like, where is that? You know what I mean? Like, we don't, so they get in to ask these questions and the hotels are now forced to answer them.
Right.
So, you find that chefs like me, especially from Kingston nowadays, are seeking to answer that question before it's even asked.
Beautiful.
So we start to merge those cuisines. Where one of the examples I would do is my signature oxtail cannelloni, for example, and it's a lasagna sheet, deboned oxtail stuffed in the lasagna sheet and rolled. And then it covered with provolone cheese and mozzarella cheese and Parmesan cheese.
Don't do that. Don't listen. Don't please. I see DJ Delano. I see DJ Delano rocking in his chair because that sounds really good to us. No,
So
that's
the
beautiful.
significance of that, right, is that we cook the oxtail authentically, like Jamaica, pure Jamaican flavors.
But
So
you
for
present it
somebody
in a
who is a
different way.
Jamaican would have that and be like, this tastes like braised oxtail that I'm used to, but I've never had it in this way. And for
Right.
somebody who's from Italy, for example, or America, they'll be like, I know cannelloni, but I've never had it stuffed with
Had this
oxtail.
meat.
So
Yeah.
they have that check-off list to say, I've had a Jamaican
No,
experience
I got you.
authentically, but it was brand new. So it's almost like international guests and
Fusing
Jamaican
it.
guests can sit at a table having something new, and it's just like wow for both of them, and it
Beautiful.
strikes an interesting conversation with that.
Right. No,
So
no,
food
thank you.
plays a huge role in a gastronomy. A lot of people travel for food actually, right?
Right.
And
No,
that's that
absolutely.
their experience is not complete unless they taste something from the culture.
Food. No, thank you. And I think what you will do is you'll inspire, you and many chefs in Jamaica will inspire other chefs who are coming how to hold on to their authenticity while trying out and fusing other things. Now, you mentioned something about chocolate tours, which is very interesting because we're going to go across to Walter. And the reason why I think this is interesting is because when I thought about Jamaica, I think about coffee and food, and I think about music and culture, but I just never ever thought about Jamaica and chocolate for some strange reason. And here it is, you basically taken it, made it your own, and it is fused with the heart of Jamaica. But Walter, tell our viewers your business or your skill set.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's true. And a lot of people have kind of forgotten about this gem in Jamaica, which is their cocoa. A lot of people don't know that Jamaica actually grows one of the 5 best cocoa beans in the world, and therefore is heavily underutilized. And that's where we jumped in. Now, my background, a little bit about us and my background. I used to be a chef as well. I used to be a pastry chef. I worked in the hotels for years, worked around, there you go, chef. Done that for a long time, learned how to make bean to bar chocolate overseas. My wife is, of course, from here, as you know.
This is where you met her and fell in love with her, and you just couldn't go back. Continue.
There you go. So my wife and myself decided to come back home, which is Jamaica, and say, you know what, we've gathered all this knowledge of how to actually uplift this forgotten crop. And that's where we decided, you know what, we're going to start making our own Jamaican bean to bar chocolate, because then you have that added value into the market where people don't just sell cocoa beans, but actually you're able to create a full product where more people can benefit from. And that's really what we're doing. And funny enough, well, not funny enough, but I thought it was way overdue. We recently won some international awards with our chocolate.
Congratulations.
Which was, and this again shows Jamaican creativity, and it really links into what Chef Lumley just said. What we did is we infused the chocolate bar with jerk seasoning, doing the same thing that Chef Lumley does, and this bar actually won a gold award on the International Chocolate Awards, which is the Academy of Chocolate Awards, which is the biggest international award in the world.
Incredible.
So, this little island has so much potential, and we need to capitalize on that. And this is just one of the examples. Actually, next month, we will bring our Jamaican chocolate back to the Salon du Chocolat in Paris, where we will bring our chocolate to the world stage yet again, to make sure that as many people as possible learn about Jamaican chocolate and know that we're making a premium product. So yeah, that's a little bit of what we do. We do everything by hand. We have really decided to do everything from scratch, the old-fashioned way. We're partnering with farmers, making sure that we directly trade with the farmer, making sure that he gets a fair cut. Because a lot of people, right, a lot of times we feel that the farmer is he's a supplier to the hotel, but without a farmer, you don't have food on your tables. It's quite simple.
Correct.
Farmer, you don't have food. So we truly believe in making sure that the farmer gets a fair share. We actually, in our business model, we make sure to pay directly to the farmer.
That's beautiful.
He can take better care of his crop, and in return, we get better beans, which results in award-winning chocolate. So it's a circle. If we all treat each other,
it's a win-win.
Of course. So if we all treat each other fairly and properly, then we all win. And that's really also where that links into tourism, of course. Now,
Absolutely.
where we really focused on in the beginning of our company was tourism, airports and hotels and gift shops, of course. That's where our bars did really well. Then, of course, we had our challenges, but even though the challenges from the past period, there is still a lot of support and opportunities there with tourism.
Great. Which is going to be my next question, you know, so don't get too deep into tourism, you know, because that's my next question.
I'm not going to go in there too deep, but I do want the people, and especially the people that are watching this, also to understand that it's not, tourism isn't only from overseas. It is local people as well, and that's really where we tapped in. Well. So there is a lot to do for us all. So that.
Good point. Good point. Well, one, I am here to carry your bags to Paris. If you need someone to carry your bags. Number two, thank you for the nuggets, because I didn't know that Jamaica actually had one of the top 5 best cocoa beans in the world. But I do know that I go to Linstead as often as I can to get the cocoa bean, and I burst open the fruit and I eat it just as is. And when I share on Instagram, there are generations of Jamaicans who ask me, what fruit is that? So we know that there's this huge, you know, awareness that needs to take place. And certainly lastly, when you go to Grenada, the spice aisle, they actually have this amazing chocolate tour where you literally go and you learn about the cocoa, and then they take you through the process. So I can't see why you certainly can't do that, because that's just another part of the beautiful thing that you can create, or a product that you can create that is touristic. Now, you mentioned farmers and the important part that they play. So I'm going to move across to Cassandra Hines, and I'm so happy to see her with us, simply because whenever we spoke about farmers, typically we always spoke about men. So Cassandra, first of all, tell us what kind of farmer you are, because we know farmers might grow certain things and, you know, you don't grow certain things. Tell us about your business or your skill set.
I am a vegetable farmer. I have 3 acres of land where I grow iceberg lettuce, romaine lettuce, bell peppers, tomatoes, cabbage, vegetables, you name it, I grow it. Herbs and spices.
What are you saying to me? Hold on. What's the difference between an iceberg lettuce and romaine? Is that what you said, lettuce or cabbage?
Iceberg lettuce is our original Jamaican lettuce. It folds in to look like a cabbage basically, but it's a lettuce. And then the romaine lettuce is our international lettuce. It grows upright. That's the lettuce that the most hotels use.
Okay, continue, my darling. I thought that was interesting.
My skill sets range from I'm hands-on in the farm. I do basically everything in the farm, from weeding, irrigation, you name it, I'm in it. Training new workers, yeah.
And is this where you always saw yourself, Cassandra? Like, did you always say, well, you know, I want to be a farmer, I want to contribute to feeding the nation? Or is this something that someone suggested to you, or you stumbled upon it?
No, I always wanted to be a journalist actually, but when I had 5 daughters, yeah. But when things wasn't working that way, I started working as a farmer, a greenhouse attendant actually. That's where I learned all my skills in farming, and I realized I really love this, and so I went into it for myself, and has been in it for the past 11 years. I'm going, and it's just getting better and better.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's actually a very beautiful story. Love to your 5 daughters, and it just goes to show that you are resilient. I think you represent what Jamaicans, or who Jamaicans are. The fact that if your back is against the wall, you realize you can't do something, that you can shift and pivot and adjust, and then you can tie your hand, make fashion, and know you are your own farmer or supplier. So we're going to get into deeper conversations about being a supplier. But I'm going to go across to Delano Thomas, DJ Delano. That is what we affectionately call him, and professionally as well. You cannot talk about Jamaica without talking about music, rhythm, beat, and its influence over the entire world. Delano, for people who do not know who you are, what's your business and your skill set?
Okay, I'm a DJ. I'm a producer, a Billboard producer as
Hey!
well. And also a consultant training for DJ training, and I'm an owner of Renaissance Sound System.
Oof, oof. And why music? Why did you select music? And what do you think Jamaica has done that has allowed us to take music where it has gone?
Wow. Well, I have to make it could be a long story, but I was born into music. My father was a sound system owner as well as electronic engineer, used to build sound systems. So waking up in the morning, seeing them setting up the sound system in my yard, that was it. I was influenced by, overseas music as well, break dance. I used to break dance back in the days as a little kid. I used to just fool around with music all the time. I was just surrounded by music. Come out from a barn, as you say, from a barn, was surrounded by music.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that our culture, it's very huge and wide across the world, especially the sound system culture. It actually influenced a lot of different genres of music, like hip hop, EDM, the sound system culture on a whole, which is created here in Jamaica. And and a lot of people, when I travel the world and playing for different people, different people who can even speak English, they actually know more about the culture than our Jamaicans.
Facts.
And
Facts.
that's the thing. So I have learned a lot by traveling the world, more about Jamaica. So music is one of our biggest attraction for Jamaica, especially Bob Marley. Some people think there's only Bob Marley, music in Jamaica. But when they start doing their research and they realizing these are the artists, it's very huge, especially reggae music, not just dancehall music. I'm talking reggae music on a whole.
Reggae, right? No, that I can't wait to hear more about it. But now that we've established, the four panelists that we have, your businesses, your skill sets. Let's now look at how tourism links with you, your business, your skill set, and how does it positively impact your business? Let me go to Walter for that one first.
Right. Well, it's been quite the ride. It's been quite the ride, and you can imagine that when we started out our business in 2018 from scratch. Of course, back then I was still working in the hotel, so that impacted my family directly.
Yes.
And during that time, my wife was setting up the company and doing all that. Fantastic. I don't even know how she did it with our two boys and setting up a company. She is a superstar. I have to shout out to her.
Hey, Renee.
Of course. So once that was set up, then 2019 comes and we're really starting to gear up, starting to put our products into the hotel. So that's a direct link right there.
Right.
Gift shops, airlines, everything was going well. And then, of course, what happened to us is what happened to everybody. Pandemic hits. So that's where we had to pivot. 2020 comes and you need to pivot. We had to change our business model like so many other people did. And we had to now focus on the internal market, into the internal tourism. Where am I going to put my products where people are still interested into buying something uniquely Jamaican, and how do I do that? So we did that successfully. We stayed afloat. Of course, everybody had their challenges, but we're giving thanks for what we were able to do. And now, and this is where the resilience comes up, because I feel like some people are kind of giving up on this tourism thing because it's up and down and up and down. But I know, and you see all the indicators, that the moment we're going up so quickly.
Yes.
That it can't go wrong. All we need to do is just wait it out. So what I'm doing now is, of course, getting ready for the high season. I'm sure that there's a million things that need to be figured out on all kind of levels throughout society. But I'm sure that if we all pull together and get our noses in the right direction, tourism can is still one of the biggest earners on the island. We just need to get back there, and we need to all, as I said, we need to all put our noses in the same direction and just make it happen, because so many families depend on it. Well, in my case, how it links in is very simple. The more chocolate I sell, the more people I can get into jobs, the more people can benefit, and that's very simple. And where do I sell most of my chocolate?
And their livelihood.
Of course. And where do I sell most of my chocolate? In tourism. So it's a direct link. My farmer can hire people to work on his farm. We were actually looking, all right, let's get him a couple extra acres. Let's set up some packaging ladies. Let's put on, so it's this trickle effect, like
it's a ripple, it's a domino effect.
Right. So it affects everybody. As I said, we got very fortunate. I can't say this enough. There is such a huge support for our products in locally. You can imagine, and this is kind of funny, because when we started our company, we started with dark chocolate, which is normally locally not really.
It's not, because the bitter taste, it's an acquired taste, I find.
No, and this is also something that where Chef Lumley again touched on. You see this huge awakening locally, and here's your local tourism, that the younger people are getting this health conscious kind of reflection right now, and they're starting to understand and actively seeking out these more interesting flavors, and they will go to a restaurant, they will go and pick up my bar because it's a little different. So all these things are connected. So that's really where it affects us.
I appreciate it. You mentioned Chef Brian Lumley, so I'm coming across to you, Chef Lumley. How has tourism positively impacted your business?
Like Walter said, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward link. If all our rooms are filled, you're talking about just when you're at home, all the things you need personally. You need toilet tissue, you need towels to bathe with, rags. So you have to have a laundry, you have to have chemicals, you have to have food, you have to have entertainment, because if the guests are going to stay here a couple of days, they're not going to just look up in the sky. So you need to hire DJs, you need to hire. So it's like its own economy, right? Its own community. And everyone is able to get a piece of the pie, because you have so many different suppliers even the gloves that I'm wearing for safety. There's so many things that we have to follow and abide by, the protocols. You name it, chef's uniform, everybody's gonna get a piece of the pie. So you have staff, you have to provide shoes for them, you have to provide jackets for them, you have to provide uniform for them. So the dressmaker is gonna benefit, the farmers are gonna benefit, the entertainment coordinators are gonna benefit, of course, JPS benefits. And all the utilities. So it's just a repeated.
No, you're funny. You're like JPS. Shout out to JPS.
Like a delay.
No. That's fine. No. Finish your point.
Yeah, especially this time, right? So the juice is the farmers. I mean, everything is just a sustainable community that Jamaica benefits overall, right? As long as you have, as you said, there's attachment of the airlines coming in. So you will need immigration officers, customs officers. There's so many things that depend on that wheel spinning, right? It's people and it's families, and it's real. Like for me, I even have my green juice business on the side, and for me, that is a whole economic circle by itself, because there are farmers who depend on me to grow their crops. And when you're growing the crops, you can't just switch it off and switch it on like that. You have to give them weeks of preparation to say, all right, if you grow this basil for me, or you grow this kale, I can sell it, I can move it, but I need this consistently. So the tourism product of that, what I'm saying is that once they come consistently, then the farmers get the confidence to grow this amount for you. Otherwise, they're going to grow a small amount because they don't want to end up with it being wasted.
Of
At the
course, that's
turn of
loss.
COVID,
That's
when it just
economic
happened,
loss.
you saw the detrimental effect that it had because then they project these things. So you see a lot of excess in cabbage, excess in sweet peppers, excess in scallion, all these things, and they have a very short window in which to get rid of them because food is
Correct.
not
They'll perish.
stagnant. There's
They'll perish.
especially in Jamaica, there's not a lot of NGOs and so on. A lot of our products are organic or close to that. So they
Right.
perish very quickly, right? So and that's a very sad process, believe me.
Yeah, but that
Right?
point
So
that
it
point that you
is.
made was
I
important.
can't stress how important that is.
No, the point that you actually in terms of everyone is a spoke in the wheel, and I think even when we look at the effect of the pandemic, we realize how important each and everyone has a role and responsibility within the value chain. So Cassandra, you said, all right, I'm going to take up this farming thing. I started as a greenhouse assistant. I learned my trade, and now I'm in a position where I have my 3 acres. I am a farmer. I am training other people. Maybe I'm even hiring other people. How does tourism positively link up with you and impact your business? How do you move from being a farmer to a supplier?
Well, tourism has been positive for me, impacting my business as it plays such an important role, because when the season goes high peaks, I am able to produce more, and that means I'm able to employ more people. I'm also able to do more production, and that's what I want to see my business doing, supplying to several persons who supply directly to hotels. It's been great. Tourism has been great for my business, because it I see my business doing so much more when I link to hotel buyers and suppliers.
That's beautiful. And
So it
Cassandra,
has
let me ask you this for persons who might be listening to you and they are aspiring farmers. Was that intimidating? So let's say you have your trade, you have your acres, you make the best, you grow the best produce. How do you now move into the realm of business where you now have to negotiate prices, or as Chef Lumley just said, being able to produce this ground provision consistently at a high quality, and you're now negotiating? Was that a difficult process, or was it an easy process? What were the things you had to put into place?
First you have to know what market you're targeting, your targeted market. My market was mainly hotel suppliers and supermarkets. So knowing that, I went and speak with persons who were already in farming, who already knew where the prices were. So I used the same price tag that they were using. So to keep your business so you have competitive price with other persons, that will really give you an edge in business, because you don't want to be out there having the highest price when persons have the same quality produce as you do. Then you're going to scare away potential customers. So you have to try to have the same prices as others.
That's beautiful. And I don't know if anyone was really listening, but the gem and the nugget that Cassandra just dropped is one word: collaboration. She was new to it. She didn't exactly know how to get into it. So what she did was she asked. That's number one. She reached out, she asked other persons who were farmers, who were suppliers, and then she was able to collaborate, figure out what the prices are to then be able to make her prices very competitive. So we actually want to push more collaboration rather than competition. And that's a very good thing that you mentioned there. So Delano, DJ, selectors, they have to set the tone. They have to make people feel good. They have to play appropriate songs for a particular time to make people feel good. In fact, they say a lot of the time the DJ can make or break a show or an event, and it's a fact. How has tourism directed positively impacted your business?
Well, many ways. The DJ training way and just being a DJ and a sound system. Remember that we have carnivals, we have reggae song fests, we have dream weekends, and all these products hire people, right?
Mhm.
Suppliers, that provide the liquor, provide the sound system. Then you have the cleanup crew. Then you have the, people who sell the peanut. Then you have the bartenders. So all of these things, once you have these big festivals, bring down every, wide range of people across the world, it impact Jamaica and impact the tourist business. And that is one of the things that I've seen, you know, done. And then, people come to Jamaica just for the music. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's one thing. In terms of as a training DJ training now, the tourism when I was invited to be to do this training course, I didn't realize that I was training myself for so many years.
Mm.
So,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
the thing about it is that I'm not there to train like hard skills. It's more about soft skills, and soft skills is more about emotion intelligence, how to read the crowd, how to cater for this wide demographic. Because although we have a product which is our reggae music and dancehall, you cannot force it on people.
True.
You have to find a way how to present it, how to deliver it, and mix their music with it as well. Because when I've been observing at different hotels when I was doing it in 2017, I realized that you have some guests that, hey, I want to hear this, I want to hear that, I want to hear this.
Mhm.
How do you please so much, different taste buds? So I had to find ways of you know, convincing or training these DJ to say, hey, Jamaica matters out of many one people. We grew up on country western. We grew up on all type of music. So how can we, this is how we need to blend it now. We need to find a way that, because that's what I'm known for. I'm known for like remixing. Trying.
Mhm.
I played at parties that, hey, I don't want to hear no dancehall, but when I done with them get dancehall. How I did it?
You
It's just
sneak it
find a
in.
Yeah, you find a way of blending music. You find a way of
Mhm.
presenting. It's just like anything. You're going to give somebody a gift. How you're going to package it for it to look good. Put a
Mhm.
bow on it, and it's presentation. So all of that really, really very important for the DJs to provide entertainment. So my training is really how to, work in that in that environment. And even with this DJ training for the TEF, I was told that Carnival hired some of my DJs
Nice.
crews because they saw them in the demonstrating their skills, and they pull them, and what I'm saying. So I know that the DJ training really really works for the industry, for the tourist industry.
Of course, and it's sustainable. So even when I listen to you speak, it's about this vision. So even for the tourism industry, for TEF, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, to invite you to be a part of this training, that is vision that now allows for there to be a product that is sustainable. So there are always new persons coming in who are learning, and then of course they become hired, and so it's this beautiful wheel that is turning. And I think that is absolutely beautiful. I think listening to your story also teaches us how to think outside the box. So even though we may have this business or this skill set, or we might be a personal brand, there are other branches that we can offer service to. And for you, it was training through this TEF collaboration, which I thought was brilliant. Thank you for that. So let's speak about the elephant, this big fat elephant in the room, which is the pandemic. It feels as if it's been 300 years. It feels as if it's not going anywhere, and yet business must continue. Economy still has to grow, and we still need to be inclusive. Cassandra, how was your business before and during the pandemic? What were the things that were happening, not happening before? What were the things that changed during the pandemic, and probably what was your biggest lesson?
Uh, well, my biggest lesson from the pandemic is learning that you can't stand in one place, and you can't depend on one thing too much.
Mhm.
I had was to cut production. The amount I did, I had to cut staff. So I see my business being cut back by about 80%. I have to do so much less
Wow.
of what I'm used to doing, because because of the pandemic, as one of our hosts has said, our produce, the lifespan of our produce is so short. So when we can't produce in bulk anymore, so we have to do small amounts. So and watch the season, watch the high point and the low point, and just go with the different times, that we have. I'm sorry.
Right. No, man, that's fine. Listen, all of us in Jamaica know about a little Mongol dog that always show up in the Zoom meetings, you know. All of us are Mongol. I'm sorry, they call them the brown terriers. Excuse me, the brown terriers. No need to apologize. And we understand that you're in your natural environment. And so you're totally excused. I know that the pandemic is reaching, 18 months, 19 months, things kind of balance off. We're seeing the government try different things, get people vaccinated. Tourists are coming back to Jamaica. We see the hotels opening up. Have you seen a pickup as a result of it?
Yeah, you have seen that. You see you see where you have back your old clients calling you back. Are you producing this? Do you have that? And it's very good. It gives you that drive you wanted, those calls you wanted to hear, so you can jump in now and try to produce things to come in real quick, so you can be back on board. It's really good.
Awesome. I'm actually happy for your turnaround. And it's beautiful when you said you just realize you cannot stand in one place and you cannot depend on any one thing. Chef Lumley, what say you in terms of business before the pandemic, during the pandemic, we're still going through it, and then, the end part where we see things getting back to normalcy in quotations?
Funny enough, right? I started when COVID just hit. I was at Sandals, and that it slowed down the engine completely, almost grind to a halt. And we were there for a couple of months until we got the news that my specific property wouldn't be open until about 6 months' time. And that was very hard to hear, because you don't know where bills are going to be paid and different things. So, I put on the LinkedIn hat and tried to get myself active again, and started doing some PR work or marketing work, until it led me to Kingston, back to Kingston. And this was in the height of the pandemic. So when I say in the height, many people would remember, the fear has kind of subsided now. At that time, the fear was immense. Like one COVID even suspected and the whole building shuts down. It was a very heightened time during this period. And when I was brought to District 5, I just had a thing where I had nothing to lose. And for me, when I spoke to the directors, I said, look, we have an incredible space here. I think it's been pretty much wasted. We can achieve a lot, we can do a lot, and we can become a force to reckon with. And I think we just have to watch protocols, follow them precisely, but we can provide a product in a safe environment. And they're saying, some people had the thought that you're kind of crazy to be thinking that you can launch a restaurant in the middle of a pandemic. And I said, listen, it's the best time, because guess what? Everybody else is closed or fearful or so on. So the attention will be on you.
Correct. You are the player. You're the player in the market.
Gambler. Yeah, we're going to look into you to quote unquote make the mistake first. And if you don't make the mistake, then you will come out the winner. You know what I mean? And I have to give it up to the staff. They were brave as well, because as I tell you, in this heightened concern, you're dealing with guests, you're dealing with different people. You're afraid that you can take back the virus to your family and friends and grandmothers and so on. So, and knock on wood, it's been a year. December will be a year since our official launch, and it's been phenomenal. And we have had some very tough moments with the up and down lockdowns. But it's just something that you have to anticipate as best as you can, because they are necessary in some cases, and you have to just tread carefully. You have to be able to dig deep and just be like, all right, if you have to cut staff or shorten staff hours, thankfully we haven't had to cut staff. We just kind of shorten their hours to move forward, because then you have fluctuations, and it's high, it's very high in the numbers, and then it's very low when people come through. So thankfully that hasn't had to happen, and gratefully we still have a lot of our suppliers continuing to supply our products because it's been a hassle for them to, with the lockdowns, they can't, it messes up the whole
procurement, everything.
Symmetry of the, everything. It's just they can't deliver on certain days, and then the days they can deliver, there's so much traffic on the road, so everybody's late, and then you have certain delivery period that you can drop off at hotels. You can't make that part, then it go over into tomorrow, and it's just one big confusion. But despite the challenges, you anticipate that again, and you move forward. So, do I see COVID coming to a close anytime soon? Like I had the same mentality I had at the start. This is a new norm for me. That is my mentality. Unless something changed, then I'll say, okay, that is a new norm. But I'm not waiting for COVID to go away. This is my new normal. So I condition my mind to operate in this new normal.
I hear that. And certainly something that I took away from what you said was the fact that when one door closed and you had absolutely no idea what's going on, you started using assets, you started using resources, LinkedIn, social media, putting the word out there, and it brought it to Kingston. I've seen all the photos. I haven't been there since you become the chef there, but I promise to pass through very, very soon. It's all over social media.
Don't worry.
Oh, thank you so very much. Walter, I'm coming to you, but I'm going to go across to DJ Delano because Delano, you said something, and I've seen you travel as well. Sometimes we're not always on the same flight, but I know that you're in London, you go to Paris, you go to Australia, you go all the continents except for Antarctica. I mean, that was before COVID. So the pandemic hits. Tell me, what was life like and business like as a DJ, as a selector with this, globally recognizable brand, which is Renaissance Sound, and then pandemic hits. What was the before and after for you?
Well, before the pandemic, I was actually booked. I was really booked out for the rest of the year or 2 years. Even Olympics, I was booked out for the Olympics events. Trust me. So when it came, getting all those deposits as well too. When it came and everything shut down and all my businesses are entertainment. Yes. I rent headphones for silent parties. I have a sound system that I do provide PA system for entertainment. So I do have staff as well. So when this pandemic happened, I had a plus. I had, two. It's two things. The bad part of it is that you don't have no work. Your staff don't have no work. So I went back to the drawing board. I went to YouTube University, and I learned a lot more stuff that I should have done, when I met more people in the industry. I end up getting the DJ training online, which I didn't know that it would have come off so well. In terms of, because of the pandemic and everybody is not really busy, I actually linked up with Serato software company that provides a DJ software it's the number one DJ software in the world. I got them on board to be part of the DJ training, which is, people wonder how I got that done, but it's because nobody have nothing doing. so the DJ training actually was a success during the pandemic. In terms of getting back into the DJ world, I actually got introduced to Twitch. Well, I knew about Twitch before. Twitch.tv is for gamers, but they actually for DJs. And now I created a whole new community, whole new friends all over the world. I play online. I get paid for playing online also. And I'm just reaching out to people from Germany, Austria, Hawaii, all these different places. So now this is how I realize how reggae music big. So every time I'm playing reggae music, I'm seeing my followers just going up. Right now, I'm actually getting bookings now for all these different parts of the world as the pandemic decreases, right? Also, they are coming to Jamaica. Even when I did a series of online event at G-Jam Hotel, people were in their rooms and asking if DJ Delano is going to be there. So I actually got
Wow.
forced to come to Jamaica. So as I said, I had the ups.
Link.
I had to learn a lot more new stuff, how to survive as a DJ. As you know, Lumley said, it's a new norm. I had to know that this is not going away for now. So I have established myself as well as an online DJ and as well as a touring DJ. So no matter what, like what we're doing now, we're having our meeting online and it's broadcast
Correct.
around the world. So it's 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 a very huge learning lesson for me. I never knew
Mhm.
ever happened to me in life, but I've learned a lot.
No, that's beautiful. Definitely, as you were speaking, things that stood out for me is the diversification, you going online, the exchange of knowledge, finding new opportunities and partnerships,
Right.
and really adapting and becoming agile and just taking a risk,
Yeah.
betting on yourself. Walter, before the pandemic, you just get your business, you're taking off, pandemic drop. Oh my goodness. Tell me about before and during the pandemic.
Right. So before the pandemic, as I mentioned before, was really going well. You're just setting up a business, so you're still a little shaky on the legs. You're getting all these really good reviews on your product. People are loving what we're doing. Our concept is really geared towards making sure that as many people as possible benefit from the artist and the artwork, to the farmer, to the local communities, and then you basically see this whole thing crumble overnight.
Yeah. Wow.
That was a hard pill to swallow. But you can do two things: sit down, or you can indeed diversify and learn and pivot. Now, we actually were already in the process of creating a next line of bars that were a little smaller. Yeah, you need to. In my case, I needed to adjust my product size and my product pricing to adjust better to the local market. We had made initial steps, and then with our last breath, let's call it like that, with our last, it was a bit of a Hail Mary. Okay, we're going to now push this before the very first lockdown, where everything really locked down and everybody had to sit still for a couple of weeks. Right the day before, from Trelawney, we drove down to Kingston to pick up this packaging. And then, during lockdowns, you're just sitting and waiting. So you really, I call it hibernate. You hibernate and wait it out, because that's the only thing you can do. And then, you see your finances going. You're talking to people. You see what's happening. How can we do this together? And I do have to say that the amount of togetherness and understanding in the society was amazing. I mean, you call anybody you need to call, and people understand and help you out, and that was really, really good. And then we had to get back to square one. We had to build a new network in the society, because of course our network was geared towards hotels, and now we need to go local. So we went back door to door. You shouldn't be afraid to start knocking on doors again, and in the middle of the pandemic, we were literally going door to door with our new product and saying, all right, and try to make it attractive and make people understand why they should buy your new product in their range whilst they're already not making money. That was the hardest thing we had to do. But I think the biggest lesson I've learned there is really to continue to pivot, continue to learn, and continue to really forge these relationships, really, and foster had this momentum. We had this momentum go. This focused on.
Say that again, Walter. Say that again. I think I missed that last part. I'm not so sure if it was on my side, but you froze a little.
Some things happening on my screen. You.
Is everybody else hearing
saw
Walter?
this. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So yeah, during the pandemic.
Okay, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure if we're having any issues with Walter or if it's on my side. Panelists, do you guys also hear Walter, or is he breaking up
I
for you
am.
as well?
He's breaking up.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's
Okay.
now coming back to me. Hey, right, now we're
Okay.
coming back.
Right. Okay. I know that you were saying that you shouldn't be afraid to start over from scratch. You shouldn't be afraid to knock on doors because here it is, you had this new product that you really had to get out in front of everyone. I think we might be having some issues. So I think we'll go back to Walter when we can figure out his connection. But I really do have two more questions. When he
My
comes back,
connection
or
is
when it's your
there.
connection. Don't worry. I know that I might chip in and out for you as well, but I hope that you'll be able to participate in the next two questions. So Cassandra, now that you know what it is like to be a farmer, you've been a supplier for, you said, your hotel industry as well as your supermarkets. Those are your target audiences. Would you encourage other persons to get involved in tourism as a supplier? And if so, why?
Yes, I would. Tourism is a big brand. It's a #1 selling brand. Everybody get a little piece. So you have in your business, you just know your product, your best product, and do that. Try to find buyers. As Walter said, don't be afraid to knock on doors, call persons, tell them what you have, introduce them to your product, and yes, it should work. Go ahead, do your thing.
I like that. Sometimes as Jamaicans, we shame, we shame. We don't like rejection. We don't like nobody buff us. We don't like nobody tell us no. And so a lot of times we sit down in the same space and we don't know that there are persons out there who would love to help as long as they know that you want the help. Chef Lumley, would you encourage persons to get involved in tourism as a supplier? And if so, why?
Absolutely. There's so much, it's so diverse, first of all. So if one thing don't work, you have so many other products you can try. It is sustainable, so it's a huge brand, like Cassandra said. It's a name brand, and there with a name brand comes a sense of security that you can be doing this for a very long time. And for me, I've been in tourism or been affected by tourism all my life as a chef. One of the reasons why I became a chef is because I just figured out that no matter what, people will always eat. Yeah, that's a fundamental core quality. So you may not always need a lawyer, you may not always need a doctor, but you always will need the farmer and the chef. You know what I mean? And for me, it's just like an easy transition into that business. So I would encourage anybody to get into this business. And I must say, I have one small confession. I don't mean to age Delano either in this. This is not, although it might. So in high school or a little bit outside of that, Renaissance, it's still big, and huge playing at parties. And he mentioned something earlier that I had to touch on, and his way of mixing the culture and the genres that people don't want to hear dancehall but end up enjoying dancehall anyway because of his remixes. And I thought they were brilliant because it really you jug into the thing, and the sensation that I tried to do with the cooking is what he does with music, right?
Yes.
And I just picked it up when he said it. I never realized the connection. And that feeling is the feeling that it evokes, that the skill evokes. It's not an easy skill to accomplish in music. When you're trotting along to, let's say, an EDM smash, and you just hear Bob Marley tune into
and you say,
One
Love,
and it's on a fast beat, and so you're like, wait, when this drop in or how this drop in, and it just then evokes that emotion because they will do something with a skill where it's with the music where it's, let's say, in a love vibe, right? And you're a little tipsy, enjoying the music and so on, but you're just on a high, like you're just happy. And they play music along that line, but they mix it with something international and something local. And you're like, it just blows your mind in that moment. That is what I hope to achieve with music. And with food, sorry.
With food,
And
no, that's
achieving that skill is when you will have, when you said, how do you please so many palates in one go? That is the best way, right? Because everybody have their own, like and preference and nuances and so on. But when you can merge that successfully, where in the same environment, no matter where you come from, you're all enjoying the same product. That is not an easy skill to accomplish. So
that's true.
Big up Delano for that.
No, and within age, you hear Delano? Even though I did rate you back in a high school too, but everything cool. You're ageless. Ageless like a vampire. Walter, I think you're back with me. I'm gonna give you a go before I head over to Delano to ask about encouraging persons to get involved with tourism. I wanted you to be able to finish your point because I know that it had value. And then you can just tell us, would you encourage persons to get into tourism as a supplier? So over to you.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, thanks. I'm back again. We had some internet challenges, but we're here.
You're clear.
We're good. All right. So no, what I was saying is, you had to diversify. You had to make sure that you pivot, build your network, and make sure that you. Chef said it as well. Once you're backed against the wall, that's when you will shine, and that's where you will get the most creative because you have to. So it was basically it was a blessing in disguise because now we pivoted into this diversification of our product, which actually helped us get to where we are right now. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. Actually, I always say there is no box. Chuck the box, get rid of it. Just look where the business brings you and diversify. And that's really where the people who are still standing now were able to do that. Do I think you should go into tourism? Absolutely.
As a supplier. Tell me why.
Because this is the lesson I've learned. If you don't diversify and you just count on one thing, and something happens, it can't work. So you have to diversify. So yes, go into tourism, but also make your local linkages into tourism. Try to approach it from as broad as possible. And tourism can definitely be a very lucrative way of diversifying your portfolio and your income streams. So yes, do it. And if there's any moment in time to do it now. Because we've all been saying it, things are opening up again. You're getting those phone calls again. And if you're not ready right now to answer yes to every phone call you get, they're going to go to somebody else.
Absolutely.
So this is the moment where you will, in our case, where we will be packaging chocolate until 12 o'clock at night to make sure I can deliver the next morning. Because I am going to be that supplier that they can count on, even though they all understand and there's some leeway of, it's pandemic and lockdowns. If you are that supplier right now that anybody can count on, you build loyalty and this will last much longer. So this is the moment to shine. This is the moment you make a difference. So yes, go into tourism. Yeah,
that's a big speech. That whole thing about, even though all of us have our backs against the wall, we're all affected by timelines, and we might not be able to deliver. If you are dependable, then you manage to differentiate from your competitors. I thought that was a very big speech. Delano, over to you. Your academy, you're online, you're showing people that, hey, you can do it in person, you can do it online, and you are in fact a supplier within the tourism sector, even though many people might not have even seen it like that. So for you, would you encourage persons to get involved in the tourism as a supplier? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
Absolutely. With DJs, playing on the road is different than playing in the tourist environment. Right? So since you have, that, street skills, it's good to have that, tourists, to entertain the tourists as well. So I encourage DJs, MC, coordinators, list goes on and on and on, to take the training that is provided by the TEF. I hope I am on board for the next one, but whoever, just hint, whoever is doing it, they're supposed to be, they are there to help them to be a part of the tourism, to provide this type of services. and not just as a DJ, as production, stage lights, stuff like that. Because doing my research in the hotels, they still need that type of supply to provide entertainment for their guests. So I really encourage it, because as well, you'd be on both sides of the fence. You're on the road or you're in the tourist industry, and as you say, you have to balance it.
No, absolutely. No, absolutely. And I hear that. And I'm sure TEF will call you back. Them have to call you back. Because you don't have the thing locked. You understand? Yeah, and then just we can give it that.
Let me clarify something though. When I said some of the DJs got hired by Carnival, I was talking Carnival Cruises.
Ooh,
all right. So so now our DJs are educating,
nice,
our music across the world as well. So that is something that is really, feel very.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. No, that's a big deal. I'm wondering if I need to enroll in the class so that I can become a supplier within the tourism industry as well. But I mean, this is the kind of conversation that I think a lot of persons need to hear, and we're so happy to have diverse panelists who represent different industries. So as we close, I'm going to ask you this final question, and it's very important because we realize that Jamaicans have a huge entrepreneurial spirit, and even when things got really hard is when we saw Jamaicans start to hustle and then pivot and then shift and then start to sell other products and services. So we know we have it within ourselves, but we know that we do have other Jamaicans who have the idea, or maybe they have the talent, but they just don't really know how to get started. My final question to you, my amazing and esteemed panelists, is, what advice do you have for future entrepreneurs in tourism? For those of the ones who want to become any part of the tourism space or the ecosystem, even outside of your industry, what advice do you have for them? Let me start with Chef Lumley.
For me, I would say get certified. The TEF has had a fantastic program, JCTI, and even if you're not sure what you want to do, there are several different aspects that they do certification in and training. And once you have the experience, it's easier for you to do it. But even if you don't have experience, you still can do a lot of the beginner courses. So that's the first thing, because then that authenticates you to give you a lot more opportunities within the tourism space. As Jamaica moves to improve the product, this is one of the ways in which they want to ensure our longevity in it and to compete against the tourism products overseas. So we have a strong brand and they recognize that, but coupled with a strong brand, they need professional people. And we already have friendly and great, and we have a good spirit. So they want us to be certified, and so that we can be the complete, like a KFC, a meal deal. They want, they want some meal deals, right? So
the complete package.
Yeah, man.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. I think we take it for granted. So we may have great cooks, but they will never be considered chefs within the professional setting because of the lack of certification. And so in order to go to the next level, it's not enough to just be talented, but to have the backing of that certification. I think that's a huge point that you just made. Walter, what about you? Your advice for future entrepreneurs in tourism?
It is absolutely what Chef says. Get certified. There's beautiful programs with the TEF in all kind of ranges, from becoming a chef, a waiter. But even before that, before getting certified, take a step every day. It's better to take a small step every day than to try to do everything at once. And it sounds easier than it is, but you just have to start. You need to get out of your seat and do it. If you want to become an entrepreneur, there days goes by, weeks goes by that you don't see anything happening until all those little steps that you have taken on a daily basis start combining, start blossoming, and there you go, your chances come. But if you don't create that energy, that motivation for yourself by taking, even if it's one step at a time, if you do that, then nothing, just get started. That's what it is. Start, believe in yourself, and work your network. Work your network. I mean, reach out to people who are already in the industry. As Cassandra said as well, reach out to people in the industry, work your network, and take the first step. That's what it is. And don't. And
I love that.
And I think that there's a difference between, and I see this once in a while, you know, don't have the mindset of I'm trying a thing. No, have the mindset of I am doing this. This is gonna happen. This is gonna work. Because trying a thing still leaves too much room for interpretation. It leaves too much room for, oh, well, it didn't work out. No, you need to set mind fast and say, this is one step in is a commitment. Commitment, set a step and work your network. That's it.
I love that. You talked about, you know, taking the step, starting, believing, creating your own energy. Your network is your net worth. I believe that your network is your net worth. And of course, stop treating the thing like it's a little hustle and a little thing, like a small thing you're trying to do. This is a business that you're trying to run and you're trying to make it sustainable. Delano, your advice for future entrepreneurs in the tourism ecosystem or business, aspiring entrepreneurs?
Well, I think the first thing, I think they should love what they're doing. That's one of the things. And then, you know, even with the DJ program allows them to get certified as a DJ, also get certified with the tourism industry. Same, you know, the same for TBD call, all of those things. So yes, to get certified, but you have to love what you're doing, to me, and be organized and really take it serious, and you know, and also keep doing your research, because that's one thing with any business, and not just a DJ business. You have to keep researching. You have to keep researching and be organized. That's it.
I love that. And it came off the point of Walter saying you have to commit. You're saying,
Right.
and besides the commitment, if you love what you do, then naturally you're going to want to be committed because you love what you do. And even though you love what you do and you're very good at it, you still have to look at ways of improvement. How is the world changing? How is the industry changing? Are there new gaps? How can I be the solution to fill those gaps? Point well made, DJ Delano. And Cassandra, you know, I'll leave it last but not least, but I'm giving you the final word as our farmer, because in all the things that we're talking about, it starts with you in terms of, you know, even the food, the big gastronomy industry, it starts with you, the farmer, and your ability to supply. What is your advice for future entrepreneurs who are aspiring to get into the tourism industry?
I second what Delano said. You have to love what you're doing, love your craft, because if you don't love that, then you're gonna be weak at it. So love your craft, try to collaborate with others who has been in said industry over a period of time, so you can bounce ideas of these people. See, you can look in and see where others went wrong and learn from their mistakes. So make sure, try to have a market where you, because say for instance, I do romaine lettuce. My romaine lettuce takes 8 weeks from the nursery to the farm. It takes 8 weeks. So I go ahead and I'm gonna set in my seedlings, my seeds, and as soon as it reaches seedling stage, 2 weeks, I start looking suppliers. So that's when you start looking suppliers for your goods or your service, whatever you have to offer. As soon as you start preparing, you start looking the market. So yeah, be on point. And as I say, love what you do.
No, man, I hear that. You're talking and Walter was nodding like he must say, preach, I hear you. Preparation is key. And you can't always wait until it is at the end stage that now you're going to try to find yourself and insert yourself in the cycle. What Cassandra's saying is, even when you're at your 2-week stage and it hasn't reached the final stage yet, reach out, start networking, start collaborating, start partnering to see how you can now set up the right things. Guys, I could have sat down here and spoken to you for the entire day because I find your industry is very interesting. I know that there are lots of youngsters and new generations who are coming up who have a lot of energy, and they just need to know how to structure and how to formalize and how to organize and how to present. So to Chef Brown Lumley, you know, you ever do your thing ever up, you're always doing things differently, you're always reinventing, and you always keep us wanting more. Chef Brown Lumley, Executive Chef, District 5 at the R Hotel, who was mixing him juice, working in the kitchen, answering questions like it was nothing. Thank you so very much for your time.
Like Walter
Appreciate
said,
it.
we have to be that dependable supplier, because even right now I'm going to the ODPM to drop off juice and so people depend heavily on it.
No, but you make it look very, very easy. To Delano Thomas, DJ Delano Renaissance Sound, and I'm going to call you the online, the trainer. You know, I can't just call you a DJ anymore. You know, you're more than that right now. Thank you. You're everything right now. No, thank you so very much. And the legacy that you've managed to build for yourself over the years, where different generations can still look to you as the standard, that's a big deal, and that is sustainable. Big up yourself.
Thank you very much.
To Cassandra Hines, my darling, my farmer, my female farmer, you are a big deal, because you become a face, you become an inspiration for many girls out there who think that they cannot do it, that they can't be farmers, that they can't be successful suppliers. And so we say big up to you, your 5 daughters, and the work that you do on your farm. And I cannot wait to hear more from you, Cassandra. So thank you so very much for sitting under your tree, getting your Wi-Fi stable, and holding your phone for about an hour and a half. Enough respect to you.
Thank you very much, Terry Carol. And I to Chef Lumley.
Chef Lumley.
I wish we could collaborate. You know, you could do so much for my business.
All right. So, Chef,
connect.
yeah, man. Tourism Enhancement Fund.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I like Cassandra. When Cassandra wants something, she literally go out and she goes for it. And I appreciate that personality. So we will see how we can link up the two of you. All right. And Walter Shertes, pastry chef who just completely turned it around, took the cocoa and said, why not make Jamaica known for something else? The chocolate industry, something that definitely the Slavic countries have under wraps. Thank you so very much to you, your beautiful wife, Renee, for looking at this industry and making it your own. Thank you. I want my chocolate with the cranberry. You know, every time I see, I go ask you for the white chocolate and the cranberry, something that was this. Bring it back for me, please, sir.
No problem.
All right. So thank you so very much to all of our viewers. You stuck with us, you stayed with us. We appreciate it. Again, thank you for making it the World Tourism Day, September 27, where we had a fantastic conversation about let's talk inclusive growth in tourism. It's not just about the sea, the sun, the sand, and the fun, but looking at all of the cultural, social, economical, and political contributions that tourism makes. Ladies and gentlemen, be safe for the rest of the year. Get started on that business and get in tune with tourism. I'm your host, Dr. Terry Carell Reed. It has been a pleasure serving you in this capacity. Take care. Wave to them, guys. Wave to them. Wave. Say bye. Take care.